President Trump was wrong to give a white nationalist, an anti-Semite, and a Holocaust denier a seat at the table. I think the president demonstrated profoundly poor judgment in giving those individuals a seat at the table. And as I said, I think he should apologize for it. He should denounce them without qualification.
That's the former vice president. Yesterday on the program, you likely saw the clip, whether you watched this or not. It got picked up by every TV network and major newspaper, not because of anything we did, but because Pence took his former boss to task. But somehow, that isn't enough.
On one hand, he says he thinks that Trump should apologize, but he also says that he doesn't believe he's an anti-Semite.
Mr. Pence currently has his own political motivations.
He was asked that question in an interview, the former vice president was. What we're not seeing are Republicans coming out on their own.
He's doing what he should be doing.
Should have been, some would say,
well,
but...
That kind of mirrored the social media reaction we got. Universally, Pence is never enough. Trumpers hate him for being disloyal. The left hates him for not being more disloyal, not saying enough, right? James Doherty. But golly, I'll be damned. I'm so proud of the work of the Trump-Pence administration. Leslie McCarthy. How many days and how many political crises and political consultants did it take coward VP Pence to come up with that? Page said, white Christian nationalists said what? Violet Sky. But he probably followed up by saying that if he asked me to be his running mate, I'll say yes. Actually, Violet, we asked. Pence said no. Werewolf, wow, rhino. It speaks to a larger point, right? Anything but far right or far left is unacceptable to the political class in America. That includes Carlos Lozoya, an opinion columnist for the New York Times who wrote, and the Times published, a 2,700-word takedown piece of Mike Pence. Mike Pence is having a moment he doesn't deserve. We invited Mr. Lozoya on, have not heard back. Keith Naughton is here, opinion contributor for our partners at The Hill, political consultant in Washington as well. Keith, we appreciate you being here. Why is it that sort of acknowledging the moral courage of somebody in the middle who you disagree with, as I think probably Mike Pence would fill both of those roles for the left, is so hard?
I mean, he did okay. I mean, Pence has a bigger problem, and it's too weak, too late, too bad. You know, he had a chance in 2021 to separate from President Trump. He could have established himself as this opposition figure. He could have positioned himself for the sort of inevitable Trump meltdown, and he didn't do it. He's been trying to sort of have it both ways. And in politics, when you try to have it both ways, you end up having it no ways. And that's what Pence is running into.
You say he's trying to have it both ways. It feels, I still go back to what happened, though, on January 6th. Actions speak louder than words. Those were pretty clear and incontrovertible actions on his part. He didn't have to stay at the Capitol. He did. We know all of that. And yet it sort of goes unappreciated.
Well, yeah, but he wasn't very forceful afterwards. I mean, what Trump did to him on January 6th for someone who was so loyal as Pence is just unbelievable. Yeah. I've never seen someone cut someone so loyally off at the knees. And it's just Pence just ate it for a whole year. And I think that hurts him, is he looks just so weak when he can be abused like that. And it doesn't seem to matter.
Yeah, well, we asked about that, sort of about this betrayal of loyalty, because as you pointed out, we did as well. There really is no vice president or person in the Trump administration, no vice president in history who is loyal in the way that Mike Pence was loyal to Donald Trump, and then it was gone. Pence, to your point, seems to be sort of trying to drive this center road, right, of creating a more civil discourse. That would be his argument of why he's doing this. Take a listen.
The American people actually every day, whether it's here in Chicago or around the country, our politics are very divided, but the American people actually find a way to get along pretty well most days. And I think they're looking for leadership that reflects that same sentiment, be passionate about what you stand for, but respect the other side in a way that moves us back to a politics where we might be able to find common ground to move the country forward.
Is there a political lane for that?
A little bit. I don't think running as politeness man is going to get you the nomination of either party. You've got to be more forceful.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.